The kitchen is silent. Too silent. Sarah stands at the counter, her hands are shaking, but not violently. It's a tremor so small only she would notice. The kind that happens when your body knows something catastrophic before your mind catches up. It's Wednesday night. November 23rd. 48 hours before Thanksgiving. The phone sits in front of her on the marble countertop, next to a half-empty wine glass from 3 hours ago that she hasn't touched again because she's afraid if she drinks one more sip, something inside her will crack in a way she can't repair before tomorrow. She opens her banking app. 0.47. Not zero and some change. 47 cents. She stares at the number like it's written in a language she doesn't understand. Her eyes move back and forth. The 0. The decimal. The 4. The 7. As if somehow the arrangement of pixels will shift into something survivable. Her mother is arriving tomorrow at 2 p.m. Her sister is bringing the kids, 3 of them, ages 4, 7, and 9. They always want to help cook. Sarah always lets them stand on the step stool and crack eggs, even though eggshell ends up in everything. Her brother will arrive Thursday morning with 2 pies he didn't make, and everyone will pretend he did. He'll complain about the traffic. He'll ask what she wants him to bring and she'll say nothing, just yourself, and he'll show up anyway with wine he bought at a gas station. Sarah closes the app. She doesn't close her eyes. Instead, she looks around the kitchen, the one she spent $8,000 renovating last spring. The white subway tiles she hand-selected. The brass fixtures her interior designer said would age beautifully. The KitchenAid mixer she bought after the divorce, after the lawyer said she got the house, after she thought everything was going to be okay, again. She has less money than her 9-year-old niece has in her piggy bank. Her phone buzzes. It's her mother. Hi honey, just confirming arrival time tomorrow. Can't wait to see you. Should I bring anything? Maybe I can prep some things in advance? Sarah's thumb hovers over the keyboard for 14 seconds. Then she types, 2 p.m. is perfect. Don't bring anything. I have it all handled. She hits send before she can think about what having it all handled actually means when you have 47 cents and a kitchen full of expensive appliances you can't return. She sets the phone down. And that's when the real silence begins, the kind that has weight. Sarah had always been the organized one. Growing up in a house where her father left half-finished projects everywhere, tools scattered, lumber stacked in the garage for years, a boat in the driveway that never went to the water, she became the opposite. Everything had a place. Everything had a plan. Everything was accounted for. By 32, she had a job she loved, marketing director for a mid-sized healthcare tech company. A beautiful home, bought when the market was softer, the mortgage manageable. A marriage that looked perfect on Instagram. A savings account that actually felt like a cushion. A business line of credit, just in case. Retirement contributions that hit 15% of her salary. She was the person her friends called when they needed help budgeting. She was the one who created a color-coded spreadsheet for her sister's wedding. She was the one who looked at financial advice articles and thought, I'm already doing this. The divorce was supposed to be clean. That was the word her lawyer used, clean. Not painless, she knew it would hurt, and it did, for months. But clean meant clear lines. Meant she got the house, he got his retirement, they split the savings, and everyone walked away without scorched earth. It was supposed to be clean. That was 6 years ago. For 5.5 of those years, it was. She rebuilt. She was careful. Every dollar had a job. She had a system, checking account for bills, savings account for emergencies, investment account for eventually maybe retirement, and then a discretionary account where she let herself breathe. People at work said she had it together. Her mother still used her as an example to her siblings. Sarah knows how to manage money. You should ask her for advice. Sarah always laughed it off. But she believed it too. Then something changed. It wasn't sudden. That's the thing nobody tells you about financial collapse. It's not a meteor. It's erosion. It's a series of decisions that seem reasonable in isolation but add up to catastrophe when you don't know how to see the pattern until it's too late. It started with her mother's health crisis. October, last year. Her mom had a stroke, not a massive one, but significant enough that she couldn't work anymore. She was a hairdresser, independent contractor, no disability insurance. Sarah didn't think twice. She helped with medical bills. Then physical therapy. Then the co-pays for medications and specialist visits. Just until she's stabilized, Sarah told herself. Then her car needed new brakes and suspension work, $2,400. A month later, the roof developed a leak she didn't notice until water stained the ceiling of her guest room, $7,500 for a partial roof replacement. The contractor said if she didn't do it now, the entire structure could be compromised. She put it on a credit card. Just temporarily. Then there was her brother's situation. He called her in January, voice strained, asking if she could float him a short-term loan. He'd lost his job. Really lost it, the startup folded. He had 2 kids and a mortgage and he just needed a few months until unemployment kicked in or he found something new. How could she say no? She loaned him $15,000. That was 8 months ago. He'd paid back $2,000. Around the same time, her company announced restructuring. Not layoffs yet, but the kind that made everyone nervous. Sarah watched herself start to spend more carefully, eat lunch at her desk instead of going out, skip the things that felt optional. But also, she started to spend differently. Not more, just wrong. Expensive coffee one day because she was stressed, $80 on groceries she didn't plan for, the kind of spending that happens when you're emotionally uncertain and trying to convince yourself everything's fine. It was around March when her company announced the actual restructuring. 30% of the marketing department would be eliminated. They'd know by end of Q2. Sarah wasn't eliminated. But the person who was eliminated was her friend Marcus. And before he left, he pulled her aside and said, "They're saving money. They'll come back to your role next year. Start looking now." She didn't start looking. She convinced herself Marcus was wrong. She convinced herself she was valuable. She convinced herself this was temporary. By July, the anxiety had metastasized into something physical. She had trouble sleeping. Her back ached. She started getting tension headaches that her doctor said were stress-related and prescribed her something that cost $200 even with insurance. She switched to a cheaper sleep aid. Then cheaper insomnia. Then just lying awake at 3 a.m. Watching videos on her phone about financial independence and early retirement, which only made the anxiety worse because those people were talking about having 6 months of expenses saved, 12 months, 2 years, and she was watching her emergency fund shrink month by month and couldn't seem to stop it. In September, she met someone. His name was David. He was kind, funny, seemed stable. He worked in finance, which felt like a good sign, a sign that maybe life was going to shift, that she could relax, that she wasn't going to have to do everything alone anymore. She doesn't remember exactly when she started helping him financially. It was so gradual. He had a business opportunity that needed a short-term capital infusion. He'd pay it back in 2 months. Maybe 4 at most. She gave him $8,000. 2 months came and went. The opportunity didn't pan out the way he'd projected. He felt terrible. He promised he'd have it for her by Christmas. He'd refinance. He'd get a loan. Something. By October, she stopped asking. October was also when her company called her into a meeting and told her they were moving her department to their Boston office. She could relocate, or she could take a severance package, 3 months of salary. A lot of companies offered less, her manager had said, trying to make it sound generous. She had been making $78,000 a year. 3 months of salary, after taxes, was roughly $14,000. She'd taken the package. She told herself it was fine. She'd find something new. The job market was good. She had marketable skills. She had a house to fall back on, surely she could refinance if she needed to, use it as collateral for a business loan, something. She sent out resumes. She had 3 interviews. She didn't get any of the jobs. The feedback was vague, they went with other candidates, it was a competitive field, they were looking for someone with specific software experience she didn't have. After the 3rd rejection, she stopped trying as hard. She told herself she was taking time to figure out what she really wanted. What she really wanted was to not feel this way. What she really wanted was for something to break her out of the freefall feeling. So she hired a life coach. $3,000 for a 6-week program. She charged it. The life coach was very good at making her feel like things were going to be fine. They weren't fine. By the end of 6 weeks, Sarah had a clearer sense of her values but no job and $3,000 more in debt. David broke up with her in a text message. "I think I need to focus on myself right now," were the words, which meant he was leaving and he wasn't paying her back the $8,000. Sarah had no one to tell. She couldn't tell her mom would worry, and her mom had already had a stroke, and Sarah was supposed to be the stable one. She couldn't tell her brother, he was going through his own thing and she felt responsible for him somehow, even though he owed her money. She couldn't tell her sister, because her sister would immediately want to help and Sarah couldn't bear to be helped. She couldn't tell her friends because somehow "I'm having financial problems" felt like saying I'm a failure and she wasn't sure she could survive that assessment, even if they said otherwise. So she stopped talking about it. She stopped updating her LinkedIn. She stopped responding to networking emails. She sat in her beautiful house with its expensive renovations, and its brass fixtures, and its granite counters, and she applied for jobs in retail. She applied for jobs in customer service. She applied for a job at Target and they told her she was overqualified and they were concerned she'd leave as soon as something better came along. They were right. But she wanted to be hired anyway. She wasn't. By November, she had cycled through the severance money and most of the money she'd been able to pull from her investment accounts without triggering major tax penalties. She'd stopped paying the business line of credit. The credit card companies had started calling. She'd stopped answering. And then it was November 22nd, and she was looking at her bank account, and it said 0.47, and Thursday was Thanksgiving, and her mother was coming, and her family was coming, and they all thought she had it together. That was the feeling that lived in her chest now, not fear, not quite. Something more like the moment right before an earthquake, when the world is already moving but your body hasn't registered it yet. That moment of suspended time. Thanksgiving morning arrives like an unwanted guest. Sarah is up at 5:47 a.m. She hasn't slept. She stopped trying around 3 a.m. and just lay in bed, doing the math in her head again and again, as if the numbers would be different this time. They're not different. She has 47 cents. She has a credit card with $11,000 on it and a $3,200 limit she's already exceeded. The credit card company has been very polite about the fact that her payments are 3 months late. She has a mortgage of $1,200 due on Friday. She has a property tax bill of $4,400 coming up in January. She has a car insurance payment due tomorrow. She has a family arriving in 8 hours. Sarah gets out of bed and goes to the kitchen. She's going to start cooking now, which is insane. Dinner isn't until 6 p.m. But the alternative is sitting with her thoughts and she can't do that. She pulls out the turkey from the freezer. It's a 16-pound bird. She bought it 3 weeks ago when it was on sale at Whole Foods. She'd felt smart then, planning ahead, taking advantage of a deal. She'd put it on her debit card and felt okay about it. She looks at it now, this huge, heavy, frozen bird, and it feels like a metaphor for something, but she can't quite crystallize what. The bird needs to thaw. It should have started yesterday. She can still do it in ice water, but it will take hours. She fills the sink with cold water and ice and carefully places the turkey in it. The cold water rises and splashes against the white ceramic, splashes that are cleaner than anything in her life right now. Her phone buzzes. Her mother, getting ready to head out. Leaving around 11:30. What should I listen to, audiobook or podcast? Any recommendations? Sarah stares at the message. What she wants to write is, "Mom, I need to tell you something. I'm in financial crisis. I lied about being okay. I need help." What she writes is, "Oh. Maybe that one about the woman who started a business? You liked the other episodes." Her mother writes back immediately, a thumbs up emoji and nothing else. Sarah sets the phone down. She starts preparing the vegetable stock from scratch. It's 6:15 a.m. She's making stock because she can't buy it. Canned or box stock is $3.50 a container and she has literally no money, and she needs to do something productive or she's going to scream. She chops celery. She chops carrots. She chops onion until her eyes water and she's not sure if she's crying or if it's just the onion. She keeps chopping. By 9 a.m., she has stock simmering on the stove. The turkey thawing in cold water, she's changed the water 4 times. Bread for stuffing resting on the counter. Her mother's favorite side dish, scalloped potatoes, prepped and waiting. 2 types of cranberry sauce made from scratch. Her house smells like Thanksgiving. It smells like tradition and family and the kind of comfort that comes from a kitchen that's doing what it's supposed to do. She looks in the refrigerator. She realizes she never actually planned what she's going to make. This is the moment when the first real panic breaks through, not the anxiety panic of the last few months, but actual, physical panic. Her heart rate spikes. Her hands start to shake again, not a tremor now but visible shaking. She closes the refrigerator. She opens it again. She's looking for food, but what she's really looking for is a way out of this, and there is no way out and she is so tired. She has eggs. She has butter. She has flour and sugar and vanilla and she can make things. She can make desserts. She can make the bread from scratch. She can make the whole meal from basic ingredients if she has to. But vegetables, she needs vegetables for the side dishes her family expects. Her brother has gotten vegetarian, as of last month, probably a phase, so she needs something that's not just green bean casserole, although she loves green bean casserole and it's cheap and filling and delicious. She makes a list: Brussels sprouts, sweet potatoes, carrots, broccoli, celery, onion, apples for the side dish. Total estimated cost, $35. She doesn't have $35. She doesn't even have a debit card that will work. She checked last night and it's frozen due to insufficient funds and overdraft protection that's been exceeded. She has one credit card that still has room, an old one from before everything got bad. It has a $500 limit and she hasn't used it in 6 months. It probably has a few $100s left. She picks up her phone. She's going to order groceries for delivery. She's going to put it on the card. She doesn't have another option. The app opens and her hands are still shaking. She adds items to the cart. $47.92. Just within range. She checks out. She enters the credit card information. Transaction declined. She tries again. Transaction declined. She takes a breath. She calls the credit card company. The robot tells her to press 1 for English, press 2 for Spanish. She presses 1. She navigates the phone tree. It tells her to wait 45 minutes to speak with a representative. She hangs up. She tries a different card. This one is even older, a retail card she hasn't used in years. Transaction declined. It's 10:17 a.m. Her mother arrives in 2 hours and 43 minutes. Sarah sits down on the kitchen floor, her back against the refrigerator, and for the first time, she thinks about just not doing this. Not cooking. Not pretending. Not sitting at a table and passing around dishes and laughing at her brother's stupid jokes and listening to her nieces and nephew talk about school and thanking God for their blessings while she's sitting there with nothing. What if she just texted her mom right now and said her back was acting up? Could they reschedule? What if she told them the truth? What if she just stopped performing? She sits there for maybe 30 seconds, or maybe it's 30 minutes, time is not real right now, and then she stands up. She goes to her bedroom and she puts on her face. Not makeup, though she does that too, but her face. The one she's learned to wear since childhood. The one that says everything is fine. The one that says she's got it together. The one that says she's the one who knows how to manage money, and life, and everything. She changes into nice clothes. Comfortable but put together. The uniform of a successful woman. It's 11:45 a.m. When she goes back to the kitchen and looks in the cupboard for that one bottle of wine she'd been saving for a special occasion. She finds it, a Riesling from 2019, something her ex-husband had given her as an I'm sorry gift after he forgot their anniversary. She'd been saving it for a good moment. This doesn't feel like a good moment, but she opens it anyway. She pours a glass. The wine is cold and dry and tastes like something. It tastes like something other than panic. She drinks it. She pours another. At 1:58 p.m., she hears the car in the driveway. Her mother is wearing a new coat. Navy blue, expensive-looking wool, probably from Nordstrom or somewhere like that. She looks healthier than the last time Sarah saw her, still recovering from the stroke, but the physical therapy has helped. She's walking better. Honey. Her mother pulls her into a hug and Sarah can smell her perfume, the same Elizabeth Arden fragrance she's worn for 30 years, and something in Sarah's chest cracks a little, but she breathes through it. Hi, Mom. You look great. How was the drive? Oh, it was fine. I've gotten so used to driving again, you know? For a while there I wasn't sure I would. But the physical therapist said I was making incredible progress and I just decided I was going to do it, and here I am. Her mother moves through the house, taking it in, and Sarah watches her mother look at the renovations, the tiles, the fixtures, the beautiful kitchen, and something in her mother's expression softens. Sarah, this is gorgeous. Just stunning. You did such a good job with this place. Thanks, Mom. It's 2:17 p.m. when her sister arrives with the kids. Her sister, Jennifer, is a dentist. She makes good money and has her life together in a completely different way than Sarah. She's less worried, more spontaneous, the kind of person who doesn't think too much about money because there's usually enough. She brings wine and flowers and the casserole she promised, a real casserole, not homemade from scratch but from one of those prepared meal companies that delivers organic food. Oh Sarah, I brought backup. I know you said you had it all handled, but you can never have too much food, right? Sarah accepts the casserole with a smile. Inside, she's doing the calculation, if Jennifer brought a prepared casserole, maybe Sarah doesn't need to buy vegetables. Maybe she can make the meal work with what she already has. It's a small calculation. A small lie upon the architecture of the larger lies. Perfect, thank you. The kids run through the kitchen, their energy taking up all the space. They want to help cook. They always want to help, and Sarah always lets them because there's something about their enthusiasm that makes her feel less alone. The youngest, Mason, 4, wants to crack eggs. The middle one, Sophie, 7, wants to make the cranberry sauce. The oldest, Luke, 9, hovers around Sarah asking if the turkey is actually going to turn brown and how long does it take for it to be actually cooked because he's at the age where he's genuinely curious about how things work. Sarah lets them all do their jobs. She stations Mason at the counter with a bowl and a stack of eggs. Most of the shells end up in the bowl with the eggs, as predicted, but she lets him do it without correcting him too much. She shows Sophie how to measure sugar and water for the cranberry sauce. She lets Luke help her put the turkey in the oven and explains the temperature and the timing and why you have to check it with a meat thermometer. For these moments, these small moments where she's teaching her nieces and nephew, she forgets about the money. She forgets about the 47 cents. She forgets about the credit cards and the mortgage and the fact that in 48 hours she's going to have to figure out how to pay her car insurance or let it lapse. She just exists in the present. By 4 p.m., her brother arrives. Michael walks in with a case of decent wine and hugs everyone and immediately starts opening it, pouring glasses for their mom, for Sarah, for Jennifer, ignoring the fact that it's 4 p.m. on a Thursday and nobody else has started drinking yet. Come on, it's a holiday, he says, and nobody argues. Sarah's mother gives him a hug. It's so good to see you, Mike. How are things? Good, good. Really good actually. Got a new contract that starts in January. Should be lucrative. That's wonderful. Sarah watches her brother move through the kitchen like he's not the person who owes her money. Like he's not the person who stopped answering her texts 6 weeks ago. Like everything's fine. She doesn't say anything. She drinks her wine. By 5:30 p.m., dinner preparations are in full swing. Sarah has orchestrated a meal from the turkey that's roasting. Vegetables that she made from scratch stock. A stuffing made from bread she prepped yesterday. The scalloped potatoes. The cranberry sauce Sophie made. The casserole Jennifer brought. Sweet potatoes with a brown sugar crunch topping, an old family recipe. A salad made from lettuce that was about to go bad. The table is set. Candles are lit. There's a centerpiece on the table, flowers from her garden, the hydrangeas that never die, that keep blooming because they don't know she's falling apart. They sit down to eat at 6:15 p.m. Her mother says grace. She thanks God for family, for health, for recovery, for food, for blessings. She mentions Sarah specifically. I'm so grateful for my daughter who has worked so hard to make this beautiful meal and keep our family connected. Sarah's fork is shaking in her hand. Amen, everyone says, and then they start eating. For the first hour, it's fine. It's good. It's the kind of dinner where the family is laughing and telling stories and the kids are happy and nobody's thinking about money or time or anything other than the fact that they're together. Then her brother says, Sarah, you should come with us to Aspen in January. Jennifer and I are renting a house for a week. It's not that expensive if we split it 4 ways. You'd have your own room. We're thinking mid-January? Sarah cuts a piece of turkey. She takes a bite. She chews. Oh, I don't know. I'm probably going to be pretty busy with work stuff in January. Come on, her brother says. You always say that. When was the last time you actually took a vacation? I'll think about it, Sarah says, and that's the first real lie of the evening. Because she's not going to think about it. She's not going to Aspen in January. She's not going anywhere in January except to figure out how to make her mortgage payment and how to stop the credit card companies from calling. Her mother asks about her job search. Sarah tells her she's exploring options and taking some time to be selective and all the phrases that mean she's not working and doesn't know when she will be again. Well, if you need help with anything, her mother says, I have a little put away. I know the stroke was hard, but I managed to save some. No, Mom. I'm fine. Really? I have savings. I'm just being careful. This is not true. She doesn't have savings. But her mother has just recovered from a stroke and Sarah will not be the reason her mother has another one. They finish eating around 7:15 p.m. Sarah's sister helps clear the table. Her sister, who is financially stable and doesn't know what this silence means, is chatting about the kids' school and a trip she's thinking about taking and how Jennifer has been reading business books about scaling up her dental practice. I'm thinking about hiring another hygienist, Jennifer says, rinsing a plate. Revenue would probably double if I could offer more appointments. I'm trying to figure out if I have enough capital to make it happen. Sarah is putting leftovers into containers, turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, a little bit of everything. That sounds like a good investment, Sarah hears herself say. If you run the numbers, I mean. Make sure your revenue actually supports it.
Yeah.
I'm getting a business advisor to help me think through it. Cost me $1,000, but I figured it was worth it to get expert advice. $1,000. Jennifer is spending $1,000 on advice about how to make more money. Sarah puts the lid on a container of cranberry sauce. She goes to the freezer and gets the pie she made the night before, an apple pie, made from scratch, apples from last fall that she'd frozen. I made pie, she announces. Everyone cheers. Everyone loves pie. She cuts it and serves it and watches her family eat what she made, and she thinks about how she's going to figure out how to pay her car insurance and her mortgage and somehow generate enough income to not lose everything. By 9 p.m., the kids are tired and cranky. Jennifer packs up the leftovers Sarah presses on her. Please take this, I have so much, which is both true and a lie because she's hoping to eat these leftovers for the next week. Her brother and sister leave around 9:30. Her mother is staying the night. Sarah and her mother clean up the kitchen together in a comfortable silence. Her mother loads the dishwasher. Sarah puts food away. It's a rhythm they've had for years, the dance of two people who know each other well enough to not need to talk. That was a beautiful dinner, honey, her mother says at one point. Thanks, Mom. You're doing so well. I know the divorce was hard and losing your job was hard, but you're really handling everything with such grace. Sarah's hands are in soapy water and she looks down at them, hands that are shaking, hands that have been in constant freefall, and she says, thanks. She doesn't correct her mother. She doesn't say, actually, Mom, I'm not handling anything with grace. I'm barely handling anything at all. I have 47 cents and I don't know how I'm going to pay my mortgage on Friday. Instead she says, I'm just trying to do my best. You are, her mother says. You really are. By 10 p.m., her mother has gone to bed in the guest room. Sarah is in her own bed, looking at her phone, where several emails have come through, an email from her mortgage company about her payment due Friday. An email from a credit card company about her overdue balance. An email from Target saying they want to hire her for seasonal work starting next week, $15 an hour, 25 hours per week. She stares at that last email for a long time. $15 an hour, 25 hours per week, is approximately $1,500 a month before taxes. That's not enough for her mortgage. It's not enough for anything. But it's also the first job offer she's gotten in 3 months. She reads it again. The position starts Monday. She would have to tell her family something, that she got a job. What kind of job? Where? She replies to the email at 11:47 p.m. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm excited to be part of the Target team. She hits send. She doesn't sleep. Friday morning, her mother makes coffee and breakfast. Sarah watches her mother move around the kitchen that Sarah designed and renovated and paid for with money that no longer exists, and her mother is humming. Humming. Like everything in the world is fine and normal and she doesn't know that her daughter is drowning. I was thinking, her mother says, pouring orange juice, maybe I could help you with the roof. I saw the water stain the last time I was here. That must be fixed soon or you'll have real problems. Sarah's heart does something that's not quite a beat. The roof is fine, Mom. But I saw, it's fine. Really? Her mother doesn't push. She sets down the orange juice and sets a bowl of eggs on the table. She'd scrambled them, soft, buttery, the way Sarah likes them. They eat breakfast together and her mother talks about her new life, post-stroke. How the physical therapy has helped. How her doctor says her recovery is remarkable. How she's been thinking about maybe learning something new, maybe taking an online course, something she's always wanted to do. Life is short, her mother says. I spent so many years just working, trying to take care of you kids, and I never took time for me. I want to do that now. Sarah watches her mother talk about this future she's planning, a future that assumes Sarah is fine, assumes Sarah doesn't need help, assumes Sarah is the stable rock in the family the way she's always been. It occurs to Sarah that she's never not been this, the stable one. The one who figures things out. Even as a kid, she was the one who noticed when her mother was stressed and brought her tea. The one who organized her siblings. The one who had plans. When did she start breaking and nobody noticed? That sounds great, Mom, Sarah says. Her mother leaves at noon. Sarah hugs her.
Goodbye.
At the car. Her mother holds her for a long time. I love you so much, her mother says. I'm so proud of you. Sarah doesn't cry until her mother's car turns out of the driveway. Then she goes inside and she cries in the kitchen of the house she can't afford, and she lets out sounds that she's been holding in for months. Deep sounds. Sounds that come from somewhere in her belly and bypass her brain entirely. She cries until there's nothing left, and then she keeps making the sounds anyway, without tears, just the physical expressions of a person who is drowning. Her neighbor's dog starts barking from the adjacent yard. Sarah stops. She washes her face. She takes a shower. She puts on clothes that make her look put together. She goes to Target to fill out the paperwork for her new job. The manager's name is Derek and he's maybe 26 years old, and he treats Sarah very carefully, like she might break. She wonders if he can tell, if there's something visible about bankruptcy, some mark on her forehead that says this woman's life is imploding. We start you Monday, he says. You'll be on the front end, helping customers, running the registers. It's pretty straightforward. You seem like you'll be great. Sarah smiles. She thanks him. She takes the orientation packet and leaves. In her car, she sits for 45 minutes before starting the engine. She's not sure what she's waiting for. For some feeling to arrive and tell her what to do next. For a moment of clarity. For the world to suddenly make sense again. Nothing arrives. She starts the car. She drives home. The thing about financial collapse is that it never happens the way the news stories tell it. It's not usually one dramatic event. It's a series of small failures stacking up, and somewhere in the middle of those small failures, there's usually a moment where someone could have stopped it. For Sarah, that moment was 6 months ago. She'd been sitting in a coffee shop and her friend Marcus, the one who got laid off, had texted her. He'd gotten a new job. He was excited. He wanted to celebrate. They met for coffee and he told her about the job. It was at a new startup, good money, equity, the whole thing. He asked about her job search. Oh, Sarah had said. I'm not really looking right now. Why not? Marcus had asked. And Sarah realized in that moment that she didn't have a good answer. She wasn't looking because she was afraid she wouldn't find something. She was afraid that the severance money was going to run out. She was afraid that if she tried and failed, she'd have to confront that she wasn't as valuable as she thought. So she was doing nothing. I'm just taking some time, she told Marcus. And he'd nodded and understood, and he'd told her about his experience with the job search, and he'd told her she should do it, she should start looking, she'd find something. She'd promised she would. She didn't. Instead, she'd gone home and she'd opened another credit card. She'd told herself she was doing it for emergency purposes. She'd told herself it was temporary. She'd told herself she had a plan. She didn't have a plan. What she had was avoidance. Avoidance is a hell of a drug. It's soothing. It's the belief that if you don't confront the problem, it won't be real. If you don't look at the numbers don't matter. If you don't apply for jobs, you don't have to face rejection. Avoidance had cost her 6 months. 6 months is a lot of money. If she'd started looking 6 months ago, she probably would have found something. Not the dream job, but something. Maybe something that would have paid $60,000, not the $78,000 she was making, but something. 6 months of $60,000 is $30,000. After taxes and expenses, that's probably 20,000 she would have had. She doesn't have 20,000. She doesn't have anything. So 6 months ago, she had made a choice, the choice to not choose. To not act. To avoid. And that choice had cost her almost everything. She's thinking about this on Sunday night, sitting in her car in her driveway, unable to go inside. She's thinking about this because starting Monday, she has to become a different person. The kind of person who works at Target, the kind of person who isn't a marketing director anymore, the kind of person who is broken in a way that's going to become visible if she stays in a job long enough for people to notice. She thinks about her mother humming in the kitchen. She thinks about her brother taking out a case of wine to celebrate a contract that starts in January. She thinks about her sister hiring a business advisor. She thinks about how all of them made different choices. Her brother had acted, he'd tried the startup thing, and when it failed, he'd come back. He'd asked for help. He was trying again. Her sister had acted, she'd built a business, she was scaling it, she was making decisions. Her mother had acted, she'd done physical therapy, she'd recovered from a stroke, she was thinking about what was next. Sarah had done nothing. And that nothing had become everything. Sarah doesn't sleep Sunday night. She's been awake most nights lately, so this isn't unusual, but there's something different about tonight. Tonight, she's not anxious. She's something else. She's at a bottom. Bottoms are weird. They feel like everything is terrible, and also like something is possible. Like you're so far down that the only way is up. At 5:47 a.m., Sarah gets out of bed. She opens her laptop. She goes to LinkedIn, a profile she hasn't updated in months. It shows her former job, her former salary, her former life. She updates it. She writes, available for work. Looking for marketing, communications, or operations roles. Open to contract, part-time, or full-time opportunities. Willing to relocate or go remote. Let me know what you have. It's not eloquent. It's not her usual polished version. It's honest. She posts it at 6 a.m. She knows it won't lead to anything immediately. But it's the first action she's taken in 6 months that isn't avoidance-based. Then she opens a Google Doc. She creates a spreadsheet of her actual situation. Income, target job starting Monday, $1,500 per month. Expenses, mortgage $1,200. Property tax $367 per month. Car insurance $140. Utilities $180. Internet $80. Phone $80. Groceries $200. Gas $150. Total monthly expenses, $2,397. Deficit, negative $897 per month. She stares at these numbers. The deficit is real. It's larger than she thought when she was not looking at it directly. But looking at it directly also clarifies something. She needs to make $897 more per month to break even. She needs more money, not less. And there are ways to make money. She could sell things, she could probably get $5,000 if she sold the KitchenAid mixer, the furniture, some of the nicer pieces. Freelance, she could reach out to people she knows and offer marketing consulting. Refinance the mortgage, the house has appreciated and she could potentially get a lower rate and lower payment. Rent out a room, she has a guest room that Jennifer isn't using. None of these are perfect solutions. None of them are going to immediately solve the problem. But their actions. Their choices. She spends the next 4 hours making a list of things she can sell. She photographs the KitchenAid mixer, it's worth probably $200 used. She photographs the dining room set that her ex-husband had picked out and she's never loved anyway, probably $800. She photographs a vintage suitcase collection, a bookshelf, some artwork. By 10 a.m., she's created a Facebook marketplace listing. By noon, someone has messaged about the KitchenAid mixer. By 3 p.m., A woman named Rebecca has come to her house and bought the mixer for $180 cash. Sarah holds the cash in her hand, actual physical money, which she hasn't held in months, and something in her chest shifts. It's $180. It's not going to change anything fundamentally. But it's an action. It's a choice. It's her doing something instead of drowning. She spends the rest of the afternoon reaching out to people she used to work with. She sends emails to 6 people she considers friends. She writes, "I'm available for freelance marketing consulting. I specialize in healthcare tech, but I'm open to other industries. Rates negotiable. Let me know if you know anyone who needs help." She hits send on each one, and after she does, she feels something she hasn't felt in months: possibility. It's tiny. It's fragile. It might not lead to anything. But it's there. Monday morning arrives and Sarah puts on her Target uniform. It's red. It fits okay. She looks in the mirror and she looks like someone who works at Target. She looks like someone who has failed. She also looks like someone who is still alive. She goes to work. She learns the register. She helps customers. She scans items and makes conversation, and it's mind-numbing, but it's also, somehow, okay. It's not the job she thought she'd have. It's not the life she thought she'd built. But it's there. It's happening. During her break, she sits in the break room and an older woman, maybe early 60s, sits down next to her. The woman's name is Carol and she's been working at Target for 8 years. "How are you doing?" Carol asks. "Fine," Sarah says, which is a lie. "No, really," Carol says. "You looked shell-shocked back there. How are you actually doing?" Sarah looks at Carol and decides to be honest. "I'm not doing great. I lost my job a few months ago and I'm trying to figure things out." Carol nods. Like this is completely normal. Like lots of people lose their jobs and end up working at Target. "It's going to get better," Carol says. "It always does. I was in corporate before this. Had the whole thing, the salary, the status, the stock options. Then 2008 happened and everything went away. I spent about 6 months being super depressed about it, and then I realized that life was still happening and I could either be depressed about it or I could do something. I started here for a little extra cash and then I realized that I actually liked it. It's simple. You show up, you do your job, you go home. No emails at midnight. No stress about quarterly earnings. It's actually pretty nice. Isn't it a step down?" Sarah asks. "It would be if I still measured my value in salary," Carol says. "But I don't anymore. I learned that the hard way. Turned out everything I thought defined me was mostly bullshit." Sarah doesn't know what to say to that. "You'll figure it out," Carol says, and she gets up to go back to work. Sarah sits in the break room for another minute. Then she gets up and goes back to work too. 3 months later. It's late February and Sarah is sitting in a coffee shop with her brother. He's finally here to pay her back the $8,000 he's owed her. He comes with a check. He comes with apologies. He comes with an explanation: the contract that started in January went well, business is good, he felt stable enough to finally pay back the money. "I'm sorry it took so long," he says. "It's okay," Sarah says, and she means it. The money helps. The timing is perfect, it's going to cover some of her credit card debt. But even if he hadn't paid her back, she would be okay. That's the change. She's not depending on this money the way she was depending on it 6 months ago. "How are you doing?" her brother asks. "I'm working at Target," Sarah tells him. "And I've picked up 2 freelance clients. I'm making about $3,000 a month between the 2. "That's great," her brother says, and he sounds like he means it.
"Yeah,"
Sarah says. "It's not the life I thought I'd have, but it's happening." Her freelance clients had come through. One was a healthcare company she used to work with who called her out of the blue. They were in a bind. They needed someone for a 3-month project. They'd pay $2,500. Another was Carol's husband, who owns a small digital marketing agency and wanted Sarah to help with client management. That one pays $500 a month. Between the two, plus the target job, Sarah is making $3,000 a month. Her expenses are $2,397. She's not drowning anymore. She's above water. She's also sold some of her things, not all of them, but enough to generate about $3,000 that she's put toward credit card debt. She's made a call to the mortgage company and asked about refinancing. She's looked into renting out her guest room and has a tenant starting next month. $600 per month would help. Her life isn't fixed. She still carries debt. She still looks at her checking account with more fear than she used to. She's probably going to be picking up pieces from this for years. But something has shifted. You know what the weird thing is? Sarah tells her brother. I thought having $0 would be the end of everything. I thought that was as bad as it got. And? Her brother asks. And it wasn't. It was actually, like, a starting point. It was the moment where I couldn't avoid anymore. I had to do something. That's called rock bottom, her brother says.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I hit it, Sarah says. Because everything after was better than the denial before. Her brother is quiet for a moment. I'm sorry for adding to your burden with the loan, he says. I'm sorry for enabling you, Sarah says. We both made choices. We're both learning from them. They finish their coffee and they hug and he leaves. Sarah sits in the coffee shop for a while longer. She's on her break from Target. She works the evening shift now, which has allowed her to do more freelance work during the day. Her life is fragmented in a way it never was before, no more 9-to-5 job that encompasses her whole identity. Now she's a Target employee and a freelance consultant and a woman who's rebuilding. It's not glamorous. It's also not tragic anymore, which is something. She thinks about Thanksgiving, about her mother humming in the kitchen, about her nieces and nephew helping her cook, about the lie she told about having it all handled. She's going to tell them this year. Maybe not all the details. But the truth, that she had a hard time, that she's working through it, that she's going to be okay. Not because she's strong or resourceful or any of the things she thought defined her. But because she finally stopped performing and started living. She opens her laptop and she starts working on a freelance project, a content calendar for one of her clients. It's actual work. It's using her brain. It's contributing to something. She's been at Target for 3 months and she's gotten promoted to supervisor, which is strange to think about, that she started in the lowest position and worked her way up, even in a place she never thought she'd be. Carol was right. It's simpler than the corporate world. There's less pressure. There's also less money and less prestige, but the weird thing is that she cares less about those things now. Or maybe she cares more about the other things, about people, about presence, about showing up and doing the work in front of her. As the sun sets outside the coffee shop, Sarah finishes the content calendar and sends it to the client. The client responds immediately with a thumbs up emoji and a message, perfect. Send me an invoice and let's talk about next month's retainer. A retainer. Sarah imagines the word, retainer. It suggests continuity. It suggests that someone values her work enough to want to keep her around. She's not Thanksgiving $0 anymore. She's not there yet, not financially secure, not back to where she was. But she's also not drowning. She's moving. She's choosing. She's taking action instead of taking avoidance. She's going to make it. Sarah drives home from the coffee shop as the sun drops below the horizon. The sky is that specific kind of orange you only get in late February when the light is still cold but the days are getting longer. She thinks about the night before Thanksgiving, the moment she looked at her account and saw 0.47. She thinks about how terrifying that was. How final it felt. How certain she was that her life was over. She thinks about how life isn't actually over when you hit zero. It's just where the rebuilding starts. She pulls into her driveway and she sits in the car for a moment. Through the front window, she can see into her living room. She can see the furniture that's left, the windows that frame the world outside, the house that's still hers. She's going to keep it. Probably. The numbers are going to work out. It's going to be close some months, but she's going to keep it. She gets out of the car and she goes inside. The kitchen still has the brass fixtures and the white subway tiles. The rooms still smell like the Thanksgiving turkey, layered under everything else. She makes tea. She sits at her kitchen table, the one she sold and then decided to keep after the buyer fell through, and she opens her laptop. She starts a new spreadsheet, March 2024 budget. She writes down her income. She writes down her expenses. She does the math. For the first time in months, the math works. It's not abundant. It's not generous. But it works. Sarah closes the laptop. She picks up her phone. She calls her mother. Her mother answers on the second ring. Hi, honey. What's up? Hi, Mom. I just wanted to tell you something. Of course, what is it? And Sarah takes a breath. I've been having a really hard time, she says. And I haven't told anyone because I didn't want to worry you. But I think I need to tell you now. She tells her mother everything. She tells her about losing her job, about the credit card debt, about the night of Thanksgiving when she had 47 cents and didn't know how she was going to make it. She tells her about the panic, the shame, the way she kept lying about being fine. She tells her about Target and the freelance work and the choice she made to finally start doing something instead of avoiding. Her mother is quiet through all of it. When Sarah finishes, her mother says, I want to help. I want to come up there and we can sit down and go through all of this together. You don't have to, Sarah says. I know I don't have to, her mother says. But you're my daughter and I love you and you don't have to handle everything alone. Sarah cries. Not the desperate tears from months ago, but the kind of tears that come when someone finally sees you. Okay, Sarah says. I'd like that. They make plans for the following weekend. After she hangs up, Sarah sits with her phone in her hands. She thinks about the person she was in October, scared, alone, performing for everyone. She thinks about the person she is now, scared sometimes, yes, but also building, choosing, moving forward. She's not fixed. She's not back to where she was. She's somewhere else entirely. And for the first time in a long time, somewhere else feels like it might be okay.